Hey guys,
Welcome, everyone. Hey, Evan, how you doing?
I just wanted to cut you off, buddy. That's it. Just one time to get a good cut off. Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you? How's your Wednesday been?
My Wednesday has been incredibly scattered. I'm all over the place. So hopefully you're not scattered, and we'll have a good show.
Oh yes, we're gonna get right into it because we've got a great guest coming up here. But do you have your beverage?
I have
I
my
have a
beverage, man.
big coffee mug. It's tea technically right now, but cheers to all those tuning in. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We're gonna get right into our guest headline.
Guest headliner brought to you by JR Web Design. Is your website stuck in the Stone Age? Well, you need JR Web Designs. They'll craft you a website that's as awesome as our show. Hey, welcome, Josh. Josh Bartosik, guys. He is with us here tonight. He is from Penn State originally. That's when we connected before he got the gig in the NAHL. We'll talk about that tonight here with the Rochester Grizz. He has also been the former broadcaster, done work as a hockey insider for Penn State University. So we're going to talk a little Gavin McKenna, and then we're going to move over and talk about the North American Hockey League. How you doing, Josh? Welcome to the show.
Doing good. Thanks for having me on, guys. Super excited.
Absolutely. Well, hey, we don't want to take too long, so I'll get us started off here today. Everyone wants to know. So the first thing I did is once I knew Gavin hit Penn State, I'm like going, okay, who do I follow? Who is out there? And of course, with NCAA, you were one of those people. So I was like, okay, so you're been around there. Obviously, you've stepped away right now, but you still get all the feedback coming. So as a Penn State insider, even though you may not have been there this week, or you're right in the thick of the excitement, or have been when he got signed. Gavin McKenna committed, for those that don't know, to the Nittany Lions for this season after just a monster WHL season with 129 points. He is the consensus projected number one overall. We have called it here on this show for 3 years he would be the consensus. Scouts are raving about his creativity. So tell us, what's the buzz around campus that you're hearing? How's the team feeling about integrating this 17-year-old phenom? And intelligent too, a very intelligent guy. As the number 5 ranked PSU get ready this year.
Yeah, I mean, for the team to come in, or this program, they were not even a D1 program 15, 16 years ago, and they, within that amount of time, have climbed up the ranks, get the consensus number one overall pick in next year's draft is nothing short of extraordinary. The talk on campus during that week to lead up, and there were the rumors and the sort of spoilers before we announced it on ESPN, but I was on campus that week, and it was all anybody would talk about. When you go back to campus for the start of the school year, everyone that I'm so connected with up at Penn State, it's like, everyone loves the football team, but most people really care about Gavin McKenna. I mean, people have already talked about how special this kid is. I mean, you talked about it. Consensus number one overall pick for you guys, and for 3 years, I think at least 2 for the majority of people. He is an electrifying player. He's fit in fantastic so far from everything that I've heard. He's really gelling with the guys, Aiden Fink, Reese Lawback, the other CHL guys that have come into, Jackson Smith and Gavin McKenna were kind of not necessarily an official package deal, but there was the consensus that if Jackson Smith went to Penn State or Gavin McKenna went to Penn State, the other would follow and vice versa. And you saw Jackson Smith commit to the Nittany Lions a few months prior. There was a lot of talk about, was it going to be Penn State? Was it going to be Michigan State? Made both of his visits. Obviously, Jackson Smith was there, and those rumors seem to have at least held up because those two are now playing on the same team. And the team looks good. A lot of chemistry. They've talked numerous times about how they feel like this is the most gelled they've been before a season started in a long time. And I think a good chunk of that is that a lot of this team comes back from last year. And a lot of those guys were sophomores or maybe juniors who were part of that team that started the year 0-8-1 in conference play and then had the best second half in program history. They go to the Frozen Four. They win in Allentown. They didn't win the whole thing, but all they really needed was to get to that Frozen Four. They have that experience. You have these guys that have been there for years, know what this program's about, have been there through the highs and the lows. And there's a lot of expectations coming into this team. And I think they know that, but they're not really fazed by it. And I think you ask any single one of them, their consensus and the mindset is that they're going to win the national championship, and they want to do it with relative ease.
That's great. That's great. And of course, chemistry is very important for any team. So when you hear that players are gelling, that's amazing. Now, for you, we did want to congratulate you on landing that broadcaster gig with the Rochester Grizzlies in the NAHL, right? It is a big move from college coverage, right? So congrats on that. But for our listeners, because a lot of people may not be familiar with it, do you want to kind of describe what the North American Hockey League is beyond it being a tier 2 kind of junior league? And kind of what makes it unique and how, you guys scout for talent or how, players are kind of sought after?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, the NA3 and the NAHL are both kind of very, very similar in the sense that, it's not just about the talent that they have on the ice. It's about the people they are off the ice too. You're shaping these young men, not just to be great hockey players, but to be great people as well and great, role models in the community. I think that's what makes a team and the community out here in Rochester so great is that, I mean, just yesterday we went to Washington Elementary School, had a fundraiser for them. I've done fundraisers already a couple of times throughout the years, have more coming up. We're in a little bit of a lull. We have 2 weeks off right now. It's a little bit weird, but I mean, you have all these guys that come from different states, some different countries as well, come to play in the NA3, the NAHL. And it's so interesting to see how quickly they get along with each other. I mean, you have all these guys coming from different backgrounds. Some guys from the same high school or the same league prior will be on the same team, but a lot of the times it's, 20 new skaters, 10 new defensemen, 4 new goalies. And within a week and a half, they're all, best buds. They're going out every single place. They're building that team chemistry. They're bonds that I think that these guys, they may not realize it now, but they're going to be bonds that they keep for the rest of their lives. We've had players that moved on to the Division I level this past year who've already come back to watch some of the games for the Grizzlies early on in this season. And I mean, it just goes to show how great the camaraderie is and just, the culture that a lot of these teams strive to build, especially up here in, Minnesota and the Midwest. I mean, this is hockey country, right? I think for a lot of people, if you didn't come out of the womb with, skates and a stick in your hand, you were probably in the wrong state, so to speak. So I think, being in the state of hockey, being in this area that is so rich with that hockey culture. And I mean, it really helps elevate these kids on the ice and off the ice too. I mean, you teach them about being good role models. They do volunteer hours. They go to these sponsorship events. They go to these charities. They're doing everything they can to become the best hockey player and the best person as well. And that's why I really like the NAHL and the NA3 too, is that, I mean, every league does it, but I think the NA3 and the NAHL are really, really key on both having the development for the players, but also their development as people as well.
Maybe you can help us out here. So, I totally forgot as we're coming in. So you're doing work with the NA3, is that correct?
Yeah. So my broadcasting gig is with the NA3, but the NAHL team up in Austin, Minnesota, which is 40 minutes, I also do some work for them too. They're sister teams. They've had shared ownership since 2017 under Brian Radine. He's been a fantastic owner. They've winning season. They've made the playoffs every single year since then. So, I mean, it's mainly in the NA3, but I dabble in the NAHL, and I still, have my ties with Penn State and ties with whatever. But
so, what is NA3 then officially? Like, what's the difference between the two leagues? You said there's sister leagues, but
yes. So the NA3 is tier 3. So it's kind of like the AHL system of the NAHL. So I mean, a bunch of these players, they come in, a lot of them are very young, 16, 17, not like, the NAHL and the USHL where you have a bunch of 18 to 20-year-olds. These are the younger guys the most of the time. And, they play well enough, they get called up to the NAHL team. A lot of these teams in the three show, as everyone likes to call it, they're relatively close to their sister team in the NAHL. They travel back and forth. When the NAHL has their preseasons, a lot of these guys go and play. I mean, our roster has had a little bit of turnover already throughout these first few weeks of guys that, go up, they come back down. So this is kind of like, this is the birthplace of junior hockey is the NA3. It's the basis, it's the foundation. And it's really where people, you see some of these guys, a lot of guys, I think they've had in total over 130 players commit D1 from the NA3, starting off the NA3, not just the NAHL and the USHL. So it's not exactly a league where, you go here and then that's where you are for the rest of eternity. You start here and you work your way up. And it's fun in that sense because you're really seeing, these 16, 17-year-old kids who are going to be the future of the game of hockey. And, you get lucky, you see some of them before anybody else really knows, they're going to be a household name. So
I was going to say, Pawel, I think we're going to have to contact Michael Davillano. For those that don't know, he's one of our regular guests, U.S. head scout for the Everett Silvertips. He's very good at walking through all the various leagues. And I heard reference, but I forgot all about the NA3 and the process. So to everyone out there, I don't feel like much of a geek right now because I've actually forgotten about the NA3. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like stupid here tonight. So that's so awesome. I didn't know how it was all connecting for you. So man, gambling everywhere. Go ahead, Pawel.
No worries. And you did talk about how the team looks a little stacked. A lot of guys are back again. It seems like, you're going to try to be competitive again as a team. And the Central Division there has some depth. So as someone who's been watching the team, who are some of the breakout players that people should be keeping an eye on? Is it someone like a Donovan Balick, or is it a Ryan Schultz, right? Like, are these some of the guys that we're keeping an eye on? Or is there somebody that's like, you know what, you're a diamond in the rough. You're ready to elevate your game.
Yeah, Ryland Schultz is a great offensive D-man. His hockey IQ is fantastic, has a wicked shot as well, and plays top 4 minutes for Marty Raymond's squad. Mason Decker's a guy led the team last year with 20 goals. He'll probably do it again this season with the way he's been playing. Had a 5-goal Friday night against Peoria, franchise record for most goals in a game. Ole Field, a guy that also spends a lot of time between Rochester and Austin. He plays on that top line alongside Decker, but someone that I've noticed in the short time that we've seen, it's only been a handful of games so far, 3-1 on the season. Brett Ludvinson, this is a guy that has come in, has been absolutely stellar so far for the Rochester Grizzlies. Has a couple of goals, couple of assists as well, and is an absolute workhorse, both on and off the puck. Not necessarily the biggest guy, below 6 feet, but what he lacks in size, he makes up for in grit and determination. He's one of those guys that you see him come off the bench and you're on the opposing team. You kind of let out a big sigh because you're about to get, outworked and out-hustled for the next 45 to 50 seconds. He's a fantastic player. Already playing top 6 minutes for Marty Raymond's squad, will probably stay in that role. He's a guy that has really come into his own in such a short amount of time because not someone that has played with some of these other guys before, but came in and filled a role, filled the need especially. And now this is a Rochester team that has pretty much 3 really solid scoring lines, and then someone else, in the goaltending, and Kyle Lappy, a hometown Rochester kid, got his first NA3 shutout this past weekend. Has only let up 2 goals on the season in 3 contests. He's stopped 29 of 30 shots he faced this past weekend. He has been really, really solid in net. Someone that, there's a lot of chaos in front of the crease, especially in the NA3. These are very young guys. It's not as polished as, the USHL or the CHL or NCAA hockey, but he finds a way to make every sort of play just kind of seem natural despite the chaos happening in front of him. Very poised in his net. Again, not a guy that's the biggest, but he fills the net very well, has great positioning, great hockey IQ, and great vision. And he's someone that I think is going to be backstopping this team a lot this year. Tate Metcalf, a guy that also is a goaltender for this team. They'll be the 1A, 1B sort of situation. But it's a good start for the year so far. You have really good scoring lines. The defense looks great, especially with a guy like Ryland Schultz on that back end. And then find a hidden gem, like you said, and Kyle Lappy, a guy in your own backyard who's been as fantastic as he had. It sets up for a good season. These guys the boys are pretty. They're under the impression that they're going to make a deep run, and they want to make that last.
And before Evan gets to his next question, can you also follow in the footsteps of almost every national broadcaster? Because I think Lappy is only 5'10", 5'11", just talking about how short that is for a goaltender. Yeah. Because that's all I hear about UC Saros. So I feel maybe he can have a chance at making it.
Well, how old is he?
He just turned 17. So
but he's 5'10", I think. 5'10" or 5'11", right?
Yeah.
If I recall.
Yeah, he is not the biggest guy, but again, what they make up for in.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm thinking like UC Saros, where every broadcaster just talks about how short he is every game, as if that matters.
So he's one of the sought out ones whenever someone wants to trade for a goalie. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, Lappy, he's 18 now. His birthday's in a few days. I think it's the 27th, so he'll turn 19 soon. But he's He's come in first year in the NA3, has done a fantastic job. And I mean, you talk about being a homegrown talent. I mean, whenever his name gets called, the fans, however few or however many there are, I mean, they go nuts for that kid. I mean, they love seeing guys that have grown up in Rochester representing the Rock, as everyone calls it, wearing that Grizzlies logo. I mean, it's a huge accomplishment for him, and it's a huge sense of pride for everybody in the stands as well.
So here's a quick question. We're just kind of going a little off track here from our questions, but you're just talking about him. So what it sounds like he gets everyone excited. You got that connection, the hometown, everything like that. What's the strength to his game? Just curious.
The strength for him is his vision, and his rebound control is really solid for a guy that has not really been in the NA3 for very long. I mean, he's only played 3 games. His rebound control is very solid. Normally, he finds a way to, I mean, he gobbles up every puck, right? And the times where our rebounds are kicked into the corner helps. He's very communicative with his defensemen and the other players out there on the ice too, which is something that a lot of these players, in the early goings of NA3, they struggle with the communication. Yeah. I mean, these are guys you haven't played with very much, or for some guys, you haven't played with them at all. So it's tough to really, learn the mannerisms and their style of play. But he really directs things from the crease for this Grizzlies squad, and the vision and the rebound control is very above average for someone of his age in this league as well. And I think he's going to go pretty far, and especially this year. I think he'll be one of the top goaltenders in the NA3 from what we've seen so far.
That's awesome, man. I'm excited for the kids when you're seeing them do so well. So I'm going to kind of go off script a little bit on some of my questions, just because some of the things that you've shared. So 37% of the North American Hockey League generally has gone on to play Div 1 in NCAA. Now, having worked out of Penn State, you guys are experiencing the first year that this is making an impact. So we do a lot, especially up around the Canadian Hockey League, USHL, and around the BCHL and all junior leagues, which would be kind of like the NAHL down there for you guys. So one thing that we're recognizing now, so the BCHL used to be massive. They've lost lots of their guys into the CHL, and the CHL has lost. Now, last count I had last week, and I didn't get it settled in, there was over 60 some odd players left CHL to head to university. So here's my question, just for you. I mean, having followed Penn State and where you see things going, and now we're hearing about guys that played some minor pro, and they're getting into some leagues because it's all under the NIL, right? Name, image, and licensing piece. Do you think that this is just from your own perspective? Obviously, I don't think you'll get in trouble because you're not calling for Penn State, so I can be okay here. just your thought on it. I think it's great for all the kids, is what we agree. The kids, regardless, right? But right. I am a little worried for some hockey leagues that are going to get drained. And will this affect the North American Hockey League? Will they present as much now? That's the other part. So there's a bunch of little pieces to it. I'll just leave that with you to kind of answer as you see.
Yeah, it's tough, right? I mean, this is the first year we're seeing it. It's in its early stages, and I think there are a lot of genuine concerns about the future of these developmental leagues. I think there are going to be a lot of leagues that take a big hit. I do think that a league like the USHL and the NAHL and the NA3 are going to, as the years go on, really take a hit in terms of you're going to see guys that in years past would probably be playing in the USHL at 16, 17 years old that probably have to start in the NA3 and really try and work their way up. But it might be tough because you have these guys that can play in those Canadian leagues and then move their way back down. It's unfortunate for a lot of these kids that are not Canadian, I think is what it is. I think it hurts, despite it being really beneficial for college hockey, it hurts American hockey at the same time. It's beneficial for these Canadian hockey kids. I think the CHL and a good chunk of the other Canadian leagues will be fine. I mean, there's just so much homegrown talent there, and you have guys that will move from the States up north to play hockey there if they can, and there should, because I think it's in a good sense of the junior leagues, it's better to go to Canada to try and get that development. I think they have a more robust history in terms of having their developmental talent figured out, but I think it's detrimental to people those players who are, not exactly your future NHL draft picks, but the guys that were on par to play college hockey at a D1 school, and all of a sudden they now have to go to D1 club or even D3 club, or some of these guys that were going to play club or maybe even D1 that suddenly don't have a spot anymore, and their entire world's been flipped upside down. I think there's an easy fix to try and start, limiting the damage and stop the bleeding. And you need to get more Division I hockey programs. There's only 64 in the country right now. Actually 63 because AIC, discontinued just this past season. So you're under 70 D1 schools, and you have an influx of another 2,000 or hundreds of players from these Canadian leagues trying to come in. You got to find a way to get the funding to get a bunch of these club teams enough money, enough backing from their athletic directors to enhance the game of college hockey, get more programs, make it more nationwide. And then these players that were already playing college hockey, they might not be able to go to the original school they wanted to, but they can still play at the D1 level, because there are going to be some really talented guys that go under the radar because they won't be able to play, D1 college hockey. They'll be playing club hockey or whatever, but some guys that would have had a legitimate shot to make some noise in the Division I, and they're not going to be able to. And that's really the downside of it. It is still good for the players, but it's hurting hockey in the States more than anything else, I think, especially in the developmental leagues.
No, that's really good to know, because even that number is 64, 63, like it's not that big when you consider how big the US is, how many, schools and universities there are, and where the money is going, given that people are wanting to invest in college if that's the elite level that they can only get to, right? So that's really good insight. Now, to turn it back a little bit around, because my partner likes to go off on a tangent. He loves his young college hockey. I wanted to talk about you and kind of your experiences, because you've gone over here from Penn State hockey and being a men's team insider to play-by-play voice, right? Which is an incredible thing for, I believe you're a broadcasting student, right? So
yes.
It's been a great trajectory for you. But what are some of the big lessons that you've had from when you spend your time in comm radio that's going to help you thrive in this role? What's something you can advise people about? And really, and my third question would be, what are some of the stories that you want to kind of highlight in the NAHL that maybe don't get enough shine to the general public?
Yeah, I mean, we'll start with that first part. I mean, in terms of, just things that I learned at comm radio. I learned a lot. I mean, I owe a lot to Penn State, my professors there, my friends, and the mentors that I had there. They're really a big part of the reason that I found myself in a rare position, getting a broadcasting job straight out of college. It's so tough, especially in this day and age. I mean, a lot of people want to be sports broadcasters. It's not as many openings as people would like. So extremely grateful for the time I had there. It's about trusting the process, I think, is, getting on campus. I mean, I didn't really realize that I didn't really have the vision of what I wanted to do until my senior year of high school. And then COVID hit and it became a little messy and weird, but you just got to trust the process, right? You're not going to get on campus. You're not going to automatically be calling the biggest games and the best games. And for a lot of these places that have really, really good broadcasting programs, they're not exactly the biggest D1 schools or the biggest sports schools. It's more smaller sports. And I'm, again, eternally grateful for being at a school that has a football stadium that holds 107,000 people and a hockey arena that is, was built on $100 million from the Pawel family. So I'm extremely grateful, but you got to trust the process. It starts out small. I start off doing tiny podcasts, writing articles, whatever I could. And I really found my niche. I always knew my niche was going to be hockey, but I really honed it in college. And, you get recognized from other people, within the organization, comm radio, within the school of Penn State. They bump you up to, for me, it was men's hockey. You can be football, basketball, whatever it was. And then you just start working your way up, doing all those other sort of events. And then you get to be in, the best position possible, which I was in senior year, getting to, cover this team, be one of the top guys across all news outlets covering Penn State hockey, going to Allentown, going to St. Louis, going to Wrigley Field. And, for those that want to be broadcasters or just kind of, you're not exactly sure where to start or, how to get your foot in the door. It's just start writing articles, do whatever. If you need to broadcast an old hockey game, an old sports game. If you play video games, this is what I did during COVID. I would play NHL, but I would have a CPU game and I would broadcast it in my living room. It would drive my mom nuts, but it did help hone my craft. I mean, it's all about getting reps and getting experience. The more you write, the more you do these podcasts, the more you broadcast and you listen back to yourself, you get advice from other people in the industry, the better you're going to become. It's one of those rare industries where the more experience you get hands-on and kind of getting thrown into the fire, the better you become. And you have to be able to thrive under that. I think most people that want to be in the sports industry do. I think that's one of the many quirks that we have. And one of the many positive qualities that people in the sports industry have is that they kind of thrive under pressure and being thrown in the fire and just kind of living with the punches, whatever it may be. And then moving forward, transitioning to just stories in the NA3 and the NAHL. I kind of touched on it a little bit more, but just the personal stories and the personal side for these guys. I mean, there are 17 kids from Minnesota on this Rochester team, and 5 or 6 of them are from the Rochester area. They've got so many connections, so many roots. I mean, they grew up here. They get to play for the hometown team. You can see it on their faces in practice when they hit the ice, and just getting to know the personal side of them. And also, a lot of these guys, they may not, some of them understand, some of them may not, but this could be one of the last times they lace up those skates. You can't take it for granted. Every shift you got to play like it's your last, and there are guys out there that definitely do that, and they put their heart and soul into it. And I think, getting to learn them off the ice, not just as hockey players, getting to know the personal side, what's your favorite pregame meal, your pregame ritual, music, do you have any hidden talents, just getting them to be more personal for the fans that may just know them as, a guy with a stick and skates. That's something that I've tried to work on in a few short weeks here in Rochester. And we're going to try and continue to work on that throughout the year so that people see these guys as people, not just players.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, no, that's excellent. It's got me interested when you were just saying about broadcasting, because just before we came on, I just saw a good friend of ours so we're in season 7, and in season 3 when we started bringing guests on. And so his name's Sean Mullen. He actually called for Stu Skinner and Carter Hart in the final in the Western Hockey League. He got to call the championship game. So he's a big believer in Stu Skinner. He says, keep hanging on. But
someone's got it.
It's 15 years ago he got started in that. Now he's still in radio because that was 20 years ago. I think of Keegan Bartram, who's done a lot in the AJHL and, a bunch of the guys around the junior leagues and stuff. And then actually even what was it? So we don't get him on anymore. Alex Thomas used to call up in Boston for the Northeastern team for the women. But he ended up getting a gig with the Hartford Wolfpack. So we've had folks on like Leah Hextall and stuff. So I'm going to tell you, we get a lot of promotions. So what we ask is when you get your promotion, at some point, as much as you love to be where you are, when you take that next step, we want to get you back on. But
absolutely.
I digress. We'll get you on in the meantime, because I'd love to still follow up any of the new stuff as we get new questions coming in, if we can kind of get something in there. I was going to say, now this is just like live coming. I don't know if you can arrange it or not. We would be more than happy to kind of spotlight someone on your NA3 team if they're interested in coming on and just sharing about their experience to like a 15, 20-minute segment. So we'll throw that out at you. If something can come around, contact us. And we love to get some of the different players on. And it's always exciting to be able to hear different viewpoints around hockey.
Yeah, I'll relay it to the guys.
That'd be great.
They seem to, I think that they're quite fond of me so far. They've given me the nickname Hollywood because I always show up in my suits on game day, which.
Well, hey, tell them we're Canadian. We're out of Western Canada. And we get a good chunk of connections and networking. So if they want to get recognized, it's you never know. I'm just joking.
Any publicity is good publicity. To say.
Well, we'll try to keep it all positive for the kids. So that's awesome, man. Thanks, Josh. We appreciate it so much tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, and so are there any final thoughts you want to share? You want anyone to link up with you or in terms of connecting with you? We put your details at the bottom here at the banner, but is there anything you want to share, final thoughts before we wrap up?
Yeah, I mean, if anybody wants to follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Josh_Bartosik, I keep up with Penn State hockey, still covering that team, write some stuff for World Plus. Just had an article earlier today about, the assistant coaches for Penn State, both former players. One of them was the best man at the other guy's wedding, and now they're coming back to be coaches. So got some fun content rolling out this year for Penn State hockey. It'll be a fun one. And again, if you want to listen to me yap about NA3 hockey, you can tune into me on NAHL TV every Friday and Saturday when the Grizzlies have games. But yeah, it was a pleasure. Go Nittany Lions. Going to still root for my guys, even though I don't officially work for them anymore. But big weekend next weekend against Arizona State. Probably the top matchup to watch in college hockey for those that follow the NCAA.
Well, I'm gonna call out a 2-goal win. We're gonna give them a 4-2 win. How's that?
Perfect. Hey, a win is a win, and with the amount of talk about this team, you kind of want to take it a win at a time because there's a lot of buzz.
All I'm gonna say is you guys will probably never see another player like you're gonna get in Gavin McKenna.
100%.
I mean, we're talking live in game. It is just like it's like a thrill just to kind of watch that guy out there. Like no matter how the team's playing. So
yeah. It's going to be electric.
So people know.
Student tickets for Penn State hockey normally sell out in about 5 minutes. This year they sold out in 30 seconds. So
oh my gosh, that's so good. How many did they seat in there?
That barn's technically, I mean, with it's 6,200 is like really the maximum capacity.
Yeah.
But standing room only, they do a lot more. I think the most they had was almost at 7,000 last year. They had standing room only. And it was against Minnesota for the whiteout. They were at like 6,600. And I'm sure at some point this season, they will probably have an attendance number that starts with a 7, probably when Michigan State comes to town, because Gavin McKenna versus Porter Martone and Trey Augustine and everybody else on Michigan State. It's probably gonna be the most NHL talent you'll see on the ice at one time.
I got my NCAA and all the games already set up and put into my schedule, so looking forward to it.
There you go.
All right, Josh Bartosik, guys, our guest headliner tonight. Thanks so much, bro.
Thank you, guys.
Guest headliner. Guest headliner. Brought to you by JR Web Design. Is your website stuck in the Stone Age? Well, you need JR Web Designs. They'll craft you a website that's as awesome as our show.
Hey. All right, that was phenomenal. Thank you, Josh, for coming on. Make sure to go follow him on Twitter /X, wherever you get online. Evan, what are your thoughts?
Oh man, I'm excited. I'm going to be watching some NA3, some NA8. So here's the thing, right? The North American Hockey League. Originally, I didn't have a plan, but Josh got me going, so I think I'm ready to go order my new subscription. So maybe they'll give them a commission on that. Yeah, man, I'm excited for this season as things get moving here. So, well, we have a jam-packed show.
Entire elite prospects of all the players on that team now, and just going over their stats. That's my big one.
What's that?
I'm gonna go through elite prospects because it has like all the stats of all the players.
For everybody, that's right. So, hey guys, just short, quick promo.
Hey guys, it's Pawel the Cat
and Evan Renaerts.
And we are Two Guys in Hockey Talk. We are here every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time to talk all things hockey. What do we talk about, Evan?
We talk KHL, AHL, ETHL, every HL hockey league you can think about, prospects, juniors, even the Professional Women's Hockey League.
Yeah, we love it. And we have a website, Two Guys in Hockey Talk. So give us a follow. We got articles on all things related to hockey, and we're writing all throughout the season. So make sure you tune in. We're also on X or Twitter. You can find me at hockey_2, and
you can follow me at RevanEv. Or you can also go to twoguysandhockeytalk.com to follow everything.
We love hearing from you guys, so make sure you tune in, comment, like, give us a follow on our Facebook and YouTube page. We love hearing from you guys, and it's a blast talking all things hockey, right, Evan?
Hey, man, it is. So, as we say every show, in the meantime and in between time,
keep your sticks on the ice. Cheers.
Cheers. Okay, Bo, let's go into it. We got lots to cover
because there's quite a bit happening. So, in some NHL news, I wanted to get into a little bit. I did my article today, so if people want to go check that out, I've got some news up at twoguysandhockeytalk.com. But it sounds like Andrea Doan, who is the wife of Shane Doan, the legendary Shane Doan, is going to be taking over as the lead, chair advisory committee. aimed at bringing NHL back to Arizona. Now, remember, the NHL still has time to bring the team back. So they technically, which is, I think, silly, are holding on to all the stats that they ended with, right? So Utah had to start all fresh. So all the points that Clayton Keller got didn't matter because it's now with, of course, the Arizona Coyotes. So the history, everything there. But I mean, this is good. That is a hotbed market. It's the around sixth, seventh top viewing city for NHL games, as well as, you know, they have a really good young hockey program. When I was down there, when I got to see the Coyotes play, it was phenomenal. People love their hockey down there. So this is a great thing. And for those of you asking why Shane Doan's not involved, well, he's involved with Toronto Maple Leafs, and he was one of the reasons brought on as to work and advise with Austin Matthews, who's from the area, right? And then, of course, more recently, Matthew Nyes and the contract that he signed. So that's pretty good. We hope that we see a team back there, but we don't know if it's going to actually take place anytime soon. I know the NHL is looking at expansion in Atlanta. Who knows?
Well, I mean, Arizona, so they mourned their loss, and unfortunately, Flyers fans and myself, and I'm sure you, Pawel, it's a little, you know, it's weird. I never knew Bernie Perrant, but he was my idol. So when I was 9 years old, he was the guy I wanted to be like. I got out and I played street hockey and, you know, ball hockey or whatever you did. You got the tennis balls and essentially I put foam. So we took an old hockey glove. I took a foam and I tied the foam around to make a blocker. And then I used a baseball mitt. And that was how we played, with a regular stick that I put some cardboard on. And I was Bernie Perrant, and I painted my face with no face mask, just like his mask, dude. It's a sad day, but I know that they're going to be doing some honoring this season, the Philadelphia Flyers. And so we say goodbye, and our prayers are with the family and all the friends and all those who are going to miss the great Bernie Perrant.
Of course. And there's no easy way to transition to this because, of course, that's never easy to transition from the passing of a great player. But with the New Jersey Devils, it sounds like GM Tom Fitzgerald has started talking about an extension with Jacob Markstrom. Markstrom came over from that Calgary trade, of course. And as camp opened, their remaining still goal is to sign Luke Hughes, their RFA. But, of course, it's a matter of term rather than a dollar amount. And it's funny, Evan, I think he's going to be the Hughes, the youngest one, who's going to get paid the most out of all the two Hughes that exist there, right? So, I mean, Jack Hughes and Quinn are already on steal deals. But in terms of Markstrom, you know, they're looking at something, you know, for 3 to 4 years. I mean, he is getting older, but, you know, he's coming off that $6 million contract. And it's crazy how time flies. I remember when that contract was signed by Calgary, Edmonton offered him 7 by 5. $7 million by 5 years. He didn't want that. And again, Luke Hughes, big, important piece to that blue line. And really what you have to want is that Sheldon Keefe wants that full roster ready to go, because you want to start at day one. Now, preseason has already started, but if you're not ready to lace up for game one, it could be a hard system to get back into it, right? It's not to say that these players can't do it.
Yeah, no, it's and Luke Hughes, man, it's just like, get ready. I think he's going to hit in the 7s right off the bat. And I don't think it's worth it. I think it's his name that happens. So let's move over to the New York Islanders, guys. We are jam-packed, lots of information I want to get to you. So just recently, one of this year's past draft picks, Kashawn Atchison for the New York Islanders. What a great pickup, though. This guy's a tough guy. But unfortunately, he got knocked out of one of their preseason games. So he is being listed as day-to-day if you're following them. Now, can I just talk about the Matthew Schaefer highlight where he came back and he stripped Matvei Mishkov in this highlight reel, and Islanders fans and people everywhere dreaming Stanley Cup. Can I just say, hold back a little bit here. This is a preseason game. He didn't even have control of the puck. Mishkov is a quick guy, and he would have been out of there quick. That is not – I mean, yes, Schaefer did exactly what he needs to do. That is the type of player. He is a two-way guy. He fights hard, but don't overdo it, okay? He did play 24 minutes, but he played on a preseason team with this. So, and then the other part that's interesting news, if you guys haven't heard, with the New York Islanders. They've announced that Cal Clutterbuck and Josh Bailey are going to be joining the team's broadcast for their all cast. So it's going to be very personality-driven, entertainment-heavy broadcasting that they're going to go with, which is kind of interesting, Pawel, because it's like they're like, what do our fans need to be entertained right now, right? While they're still building.
So I'm going to go on the limb and hype up Islander fans. He is my Calder favorite. I know people are talking about Demidov, but I'm calling Schaefer right now, provided he doesn't get injured. But I'm just saying it out there. I've liked what I've seen from this kid. I don't think Misa is going to compete as much. I think Misa is going to have only 9 games, and he's going to get dropped down for Kudos. I know I'm throwing out zingers here, but I'm just saying I like what Schaefer brings. and I've heard rumblings that he could potentially play top 4 minutes. So, listen, if he gets the opportunity, so I think he'll have an opportunity to make an impact, and I think he'll be the real deal. But that's just me,
guys, you heard that Pawel said that's just him.
That's me. Yeah. You can say what you
want. Obviously, you haven't been following after our interview last week. Hey, Kyle, how you doing, man? Go
Kyle,
Bruins!
Yeah, go Bruins, Kyle. Well, we're going to get into some other first-round picks. So
let me just mention here, just for a moment, okay? We're going to talk about Misa a little later on, so then I can actually rebuttal what he just said. Okay, go for it.
We'll see how it goes. So it was sounded like on 32 Thoughts with Elliot Friedman, Lucas Reichel's name is out there, and Chicago is looking for a potential partner to trade with. They're willing to make it if they find the right fit. So keep his name out there. Now, Chicago, I'm expecting to be bottom 5 this year in the NHL. They're not going to be improving as much. But the guy that you have to keep an eye on is, of course, Connor Bedard, because he's going into his 3rd-year entry-level deal. So he's going to be wanting to sign a big deal. And I know you had some thoughts about that.
Let me just mention to this. So if you guys follow some of my posts this past summer, I was told it looked like he was hurt. That's why he didn't go play for Canada. A lot of people were angry about it. That was not it. And I do apologize. If I'm wrong, I'm going to tell you I'm wrong. They just went silent. He has come back. His quick twitch speed is incredible right now. This is before summer. That was the captain skates. That was stuff around. Right now, his speed, his time, and his strength, and he's put on some mass. I think he's probably put on about 8 pounds of muscle just over the summer. I mean, he's been working hard at it. So I am telling you, he is a point-per-game player this year on a bad team still. Wow. So you guys keep your eyes open, and if you're going fantasy, pick him up, because I bet you a lot of people are not after last year.
It'll be interesting to see. So we'll let you guys know once we hear or have more information about that. The Colorado Avalanche, Evan, there's been some deja vu happening with Martin Necas and the contract. So I know they've offered him some stuff, but he kind of seems like he doesn't want to stick around the Colorado organization. And it looks like he wants to move after coming over from that trade with Renaerts. So I don't know what's going to be going on there. It seems like it's hush-hush, and I don't think it's getting as much airtime or air in general because of the fact of like the McDavids, the Kaprizovs, and everything else happening with the excitement of the new season. But really, like, you want to maybe do something there, because otherwise you're going to have to trade this player, and there's going to be a lot of question marks for the Colorado Avalanche, especially since they need that depth scoring in order to be effective and go on another deep run. But it'll be interesting to see. I did like
I was chastised, man, putting that tweet out there. Yeah, like everyone, especially Colorado, they're just like, no. And it's just like, guys, we got it good. It's solid. That this is not a good relationship right now. He is not engaged in any of the conversations. He has said, I don't know where that comes from, but it was the way the wording, remember, the way they frame words. Even when someone tweets something, don't read into the words of exactly what happened. What they're saying is something's going on behind the scenes here. And I'm telling you, there is not a good working relationship for some reason. And I feel like there's something that we don't know is why this, otherwise this would be signed. And we're talking, he wants big bucks. And I don't know if that's going to happen. And a lot of players, just like the others, I think he's waiting, Pawel, till everything else rolls out, and then he'll make a decision.
100%. And speaking of great stories in preseason, the captain Gabriel Landeskog dropped the gloves after someone went after one of the Colorado players. I don't know if it was McCarr or one of the other guys, but he dropped it to show that he's standing up for his teammates. And I got to be honest, he's a great story, comeback story, because, you know, we all talked about last year, will he, won't he make the playoffs? What's he going to be like? Is he going to be able to make an impact? And it looks like he's back to full health. It looks like he's ready to compete. And I'm sure Colorado fans are excited to have their captain back, because not only is he a great leader on the ice, but he's also great off. So I'm looking forward to that. That was a 5-1 win over the Kraken. Again, preseason means nothing. You know, you don't have to overhype wins, and you don't have to, you know, sour on terrible losses. It's the preseason. There's so much kinks that you got to tinker out.
So, hey, I know we have a lot of stuff we want to cover, but we need to make sure to get to, because they're hot topics right now. So let's go to Around the Rink. Do you want to cue us up? And let's do Around the Rink, and we'll skip the other two that we were going to go into.
You want to go into
Around the Rink.
Around the Rink.
Hey guys, in Around the Rink, we're going to cover a little BCHL, a little Q, just very minimal information. Cover a little bit of SHL, and then kind of focus off on the KHL and a tiny bit on the NCAA. So a couple things here. We got a lot to cover. So the Dallas Stars have just signed the BCHL alumni Jackson Footer to his entry-level deal. That's a big deal. He was with the Pawel River Kings. So he's 19. He gets his 3-year entry-level contract. Just signed it yesterday. So that's a great. He split last year between the Pawel River Kings of the BCHL, and then he had moved over to the Red Deer Rebels of the WHL. So that was one of those things. So he got loaned back to Red Deer for development. So he is now making a pro milestone placement for the BCHL. It's as in the new future, as you call it. Maybe update everybody on the queue. Just kind of a couple guys that just got sent back now from camp.
For sure. I think several top 2025 draft picks, including Justin Carbonneau from St. Louis. I think he went 19th overall. Bill Zenon and Caleb Denoyer. I was practicing this name. I was trying to. They're returning back to their respective QMJHL clubs after impressing at camps. Again, it doesn't mean they're not good enough. It's just that next level of elevation that you get to once you get to the NHL, and even in preseason. You just see how incredible it is and like how talented it is. But they go back, they continue to simmer, develop, and then when they get a chance, and if there's an injury, they may be called up at some point. So
I was talking with Josh Yobi. We're just discussing kind of off on a little bit about Bill Zonin over there in Pittsburgh and just kind of what his camp was like. And so they got a great guy coming. And of course, Utah's got so much going on. They won another year for Daniel AA. And again, I've heard it said 3-4 different ways. So, hey, guys, let's move over to the SHL. That's the Swedish Hockey League. And again, our Around the Rink is brought to you by Flow Hockey. Guys, you can get all your junior hockey across most different rinks around North America, and you can get SHL work. So, hey, Desjardins IF, they returned back to the Swedish Hockey League after 3 seasons playing in what's called, and I always slaughter these names, but Hockey Allsvenskan. I should have left that to actually Pawel. But what happens is they have a relegation. So essentially what ends up happening is the bottom team gets moved down, and then you got to work your way back up, and they were gone for 3 years. So it was good to see them coming back up. So let me just quickly explain that relegation thing, because a lot of people talk about the NHL, maybe with the AHL, could you do a relegation like they do in some of the Europe leagues? Well, the SHL Swedish League consists of 14 teams. They play a 52-game season. The bottom 2 teams, okay, at the end of the season, they're at risk, only risk though. So the last place is automatically goes down, okay, for the next season. The second to last team enters, and they play the winner of the Hockey Allsvenskan league, and they see who wins to see if you stay in that league or the new guy moves up and you move down. You could have 2 teams drop that year. So that's kind of how it works, but I'm glad to see that Desjardins is back up there playing with who they need to be.
Good information, good insight, because there's so many games out there. There's so many rules that they always change, and it's always hard to kind of figure out what it's made up of. So we're bringing it to you here, so you know what's up. And then I think in the KHL, rookie Matvey Koroski has had a hard start, and he's turned some heads. So if people don't know, he plays for the Spartak Moscows. He's a 19-year-old forward, and he lit up in the league on September 23rd, scoring his third goal in just 7 games to help rally the team from a 2-0 deficit to a 2-2 tie. And it was, really, the kid is unstoppable. He was also named a Week 2 standout by HL commission. So he's a sniper. He knows how to shoot it. Keep an eye on him if you're watching the KHL. Any thoughts there, Evan?
No, man. It's just like right now they're going full steam ahead. There's still fights after fights, which is kind of crazy over there. It is really too bad we can't talk more about Olympics and stuff like that for them. So I'll wrap it up with the NCAA, guys, just so you know, Adam, and there's been a lot of talk. I don't think we've talked about it on our show, but his name is Adam Valtini. He's going straight to Michigan. Seems like maybe a mediocre decision, in my opinion. I'm not sure why he wouldn't stay in Kitchener and kind of dominate. I'm not sure if this is a good move for him. If you kind of know the player, he's good. They have a solid team already, so ice time is going to be limited at the University of Michigan. So, if I could say anything, CHLers, stop rushing to the NCAA just because you are able to. And I want to say this also, the United States Hockey League, they have lost a lot of players now this year. They didn't have a lot last year as BCHL, but a lot now have moved over because they want to come through Canada. You heard Josh Bartosik just talk about that too and his thoughts, right? But USHLers have figured out, by the way, that you don't need to rush right into college. Take an extra year or two. It's perfectly fine to develop your game that way. So anyway.
Well, we'll keep at it, and we'll let you know next time on. All right, we've got 7 minutes left before the end of the show. I know there's a lot of preseason games that people
we'll run like 4 minutes, man. So just pick your favorite or what we kind of got prepared.
I do want to just 2 things that I wanted to highlight. So first off, Andrzej Kopitar did announce that he is retiring after this season. Hell of a career, Evan. One of the best Slovakian players ever to come out of there. And even back then when people were drafting him, they were a little bit worried about, whether he'd be able to perform in North America. And yet here we are looking at a great Hall of Fame career. So kudos to him. The new wave of Los Angeles Kings players are going to have to come in and fill that void next year, including Quentin Byfield. But I'm looking forward to watching more LA Kings hockey this year, just because of Andrzej Kopitar. The guy next to Patrice Bergeron, he's like Patrice Bergeron light. Is that what I would call him? Any quick thoughts there?
No, just thank you, Andrzej. I was never a fan of the player, not because of the way he plays the game. I guess he's not fancy or flashy, so it didn't draw me. But, man, he deserves everything that he's ever received in awards, in his salary, for what he's done for the city of Los Angeles, the fans, and congratulations, man. Great job, great career. I'm excited to see him. I'm going to give him more attention this year in his final tour here. But, the guy could play a few more years if he wanted to, so good for him for going out on top.
Yeah, and there's a recent stat that you and I were talking about how everyone is shooting 70% or better in the 2020s decade with a minimum 50 games played. So players like Leon Draisaitl, Andrei Kuzmenko, and, of course, the very controversial Shane Wright.
Isn't that cool?
It's insane to think that that's happening. But, Seattle has a big year coming up. They have to perform. There's a lot of expectations on them. We didn't do predictions yet, which we'll have to do in a couple of weeks' time for the thing. We'll have to see where you have them placed. But one player just to kind of keep an eye on is Carl Anborg, who made his SHL debut for the HV71, playing about 5-17 in a win and showing some pretty good poise and hockey IQ on the blue line. He's a 20-year-old, and he's getting into a league that's pretty physical, but scouts are pretty optimistic about him. So keep an eye on Carl Anborg.
All right. Hey, let me get into you hit So I'm just, this will be my last piece. I think we'll skip by the numbers. We don't have a lot of time because we want to get in hockey history too. My last piece, I just want to talk about the Sharks, and then I'll finish the show here off with my hockey history. Anything you want in between. So Misa, okay, he plans. He's got plans in place. Now I'm saying he hopes, just because of what you talked about. You think he gets a 9-game stay, okay? I have followed very closely, been in contact with last week's guest, who does the beat writing for the San Jose Sharks.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago? Oh, wow. I guess.
With Max Miller. You guys can go check out that episode on our YouTube page.
You guys got to follow out Max. He'll give you all your updates if you're interested in Nisa. I am a very big Nisa fan. If you guys know and follow my Revs Top 15, he was my consensus number 1, not Schaefer. Schaefer was number 2. But to me, there was a difference between the 1 and the 2, and then you had your 3. That's just my opinion. Not everyone's going to have it. But I rank my guys not based on what they will be in the draft right at this exact moment, but what they will be for their future, what their career will be. I do believe he's ready. Right now, he is as ready. Right now, Celebrini and Musty and all the guys that are there that are talking, the coach loves him. Right now, Greer loves him. Nisa says so his plan right now, they already have it in place to live with the Toffoli's. So I really think it's his job to lose this year, Pawel. Normally they wouldn't bring in Dickinson and him, but they might not have a choice because they need to move forward and they need some development time. But this guy has confidence galore. Interesting. I heard Jeff Merrick say that he could possibly make the team. And then he said that Schaefer could easily. I was like, it got me thinking, what? Are you sure that you haven't talked to Pawel? You and Jeff Merrick up to something? But, I mean, the guy only played 17 games last year. I'm worried about injuries still. I don't think he's ready for an NHL this year, so I could never put him in that race. When he is fully ready, I think if he gets one more year, he can be the Rookie of the Year. That's just a thought from mine. And, by the way, Celebrini looks really good coming into camp right now. Letty has said on Celebrini, he goes, I don't know if you saw, but he danced me and I fell. That was one of the things he said. And he talks all about his work ethic that he has there. I think that's another reason for Misa, because he has a guy there. And it looks like they might consider William Eklund, to be his winger. And Smith is going to not be in the middle if this continues and be on the outside. So, again, Celebrini has also, for the Sharks, for those who are interested, Celebrini had, I heard mono, but just some type of sickness. So he was out for 2 or 3 days. He went home after the practice a little bit earlier. But I believe if Will Smith is staying on Celebrini's line, that opens up the position for Misa to actually start in the NHL at center. That's going to be a good move. Whether it's second or third, it's going to depend how he's handling it. I can tell you the preseason game, he had no points. Don't misread that, because he had no points, but he had 2 faceoffs that led to assists and contributed. Man, the guy plays a good two-way game. And if you watch Matthew Schaefer, you saw a highlight reel. What you didn't see is all the other stuff in behind, which was good, but it wasn't great. And I'm telling you, I think I see Matthew Nisa great. So my pick is Matthew Nisa for Calder this year. Go ahead.
I think that's bigger predictions. Now, I will just say before I get to my next point, you talked about Schaefer and highlight play. Well, usually when something is important, you highlight it. You emphasize and highlight how good it is. So we'll have this debate all throughout the season. It'll be exciting. The one thing that I've started noticing over the last little bit is a bit of a light debate. And of course, it's so hard and it's so early to predict so far. The debate of who would you rather have, Connor Bedard or Macklin Celebrini? And I got to tell you, Evan, there is a whole conversation you can have there, but it also depends on the team, on the status. So don't go jumping up yet. But, this could be the next kind of McDavid, / Austin Matthews kind of thing, right? Where it's
I think we need to do that, man. In about a month, I think we need to come in a month after the season starts, maybe about 10 games in. Let's come back. And again, let's talk about it from every angle and get you guys sending your notes in, sending your stuff in. And we'll purposely even play devil's advocate both ways and kind of work with you guys.
And before we get to hockey history, my final thought that I just wanted to kind of share is the Vancouver Canucks are looking for a fresh, clean slate, and Elias Pettersson has come in to the season. He was drafted around 161 pounds. So again, a tiny, small guy. He's coming in this year at 190. So he's really bulked up. He's ready to compete. He has to be that number one center, that top paid center that they're relying him to be. And it should help his game, especially if he's trying to battle in the boards, trying to get the puck away from the opponents. And another player to keep an eye on for Vancouver is Tom Willander. We talked about his contract a couple of weeks ago. He looks like an NHL player right now. He's an effortless skater, and his release is quite lethal. So we'll see how it goes. Big expectations for both, as well as the Vancouver organization. But again, we'll keep you guys posted on all things stories. Now, we're going to get into a little hockey history.
Well, guys, today we're going to flip the script here. I'm going to do something a little bit different in light of having Josh Bartosik on here today. This segment is all about recent histories, stories so big, so transformative that decades from now, people are going to be talking about this month around the rinks everywhere. So I want to dive into the arrival of the phenom who's already making waves, Gavin McKenna at Penn State, baby. We're going recent history. So grab your stick, lace up, and let's get into it, okay? First person style, man, straight from my perspective, as I've been following this kid's journey. This is an exciting moment. So I've been glued to every update since Gavin McKenna projected early about 3 years ago. And ever since he's arrived into Penn State University on September 4th, this is a moment I knew that would mark the start of what I call a highly anticipated one-year NCAA stint with the Nittany Lions of Penn State University. Ranked number 5 this year. I think they should be ranked higher based on who they got in there. And let me tell you, the buzz is electric. The season's opener, like you heard Josh say earlier, it's coming up against Arizona State about October 3rd. But the clips, the chatter, the sheer excitement, everything has me refreshing my feeds nonstop, buds. So no injuries, no drama, just pure hockey hype. Okay, here's some things that I can tell you right now. I got wind. McKenna was hitting the ice on September 4th. There was viral clips, team socials and accounts. But you know where you had to find it? Penn State University. Check out the college kids. There he was. He was gliding through drills at Pagula Ice Arena. He was at home. He's got his number 72 jersey. He's got all these vets and freshmen, and there's no stats to crunch yet. It's practice. I'm telling you, insiders there are saying this kid has game. He is a future star. They're noticing it as he gets in there, and he's so calm about this. So then this week, now September 22nd to today, the last 3 days, I see that he's linking up with who is the returning star, and I think Josh said this, Aiden Fink. He dropped 53 points last year, and they're building some chemistry. So look, he's going to be top line, buddy. No full scrimmages yet, but and the crowds at practice, they're already chanting, buddy. They're saying, "We are Penn State. We are Penn State." By the way, college, like junior hockey, has nothing on college. We say, "Let's go, let's go," like whatever, like the team. Every time I hear "Let's go Oilers," I think it's "Let's go Flames," or I think it's "Let's go Capitals." Now, Guy Godowski, who actually is out of Alberta, he himself has told us he hears you can hear the excitement in his voice, and I've checked out some of his actual interviews around it. He says that he's not just a scorer; he's a guy who elevates everyone around him. That's some of his moments. So, and I can tell you, Jackson Smith has been excited for Calgary Flame fans. You're going to want to follow Luke Misa. Yes, that is the older brother of Matthew Misa, who got drafted to San Jose. He's playing in Penn State as well. And Jackson Smith, draft pick, who you guys just heard earlier, which, by the way, that was great news from Josh Bartosik saying that they were talking about going together. I did not know that. That was great, fresh news for us. So, hey, guys, it's quiet, but it's electric. McKenna is going to blend in seamlessly, I believe. And I think you are ready. that you will hear this month talked about in hockey history for the decades. That's tonight's hockey history.
All right, guys, that was our hockey history. We appreciate you tuning in as we are at the end of our show. As always, we're known as Two Guys in Overtime because we like to talk all things hockey.
How much did we leave out, bud? We left out, 20 minutes worth of material again?
We could keep going and going, right? All my wife says is that I talk all things hockey. You know, so I clearly have a hobby.
Someone needs to give your wife a puck and thank her for putting up with you.
Yeah, exactly. So, any final thoughts before we wrap up, Evan?
I just want to say a big shout out to Josh Bartosik again for joining us, learning new stuff about NA3 and the NAHL, which in the hockey circles, tier 2, tier 3 hockey, and how they're going back and forth. And I'm excited to kind of hear. And guys, make sure you go read, follow the material. We'll get him up on our website at twoguysinhockeytalk.com. Remember, you can follow my partner in crime here, Pawel the Cat, at hockey_2 on X, and or some of you call it still Twitter, not many now. I think most of you are turning over to X, and you can follow me at Renaerts. I'm a little more controversial on some of my stuff. And can I just say, I'm going to end the show off. If you're American, I would like to know, send us a note. Have you been hearing about the Canadian Football League? They are getting more attention in the last 24 hours. We won't get into it. Than they have, I think, in the history of the game over 100 years. So anyway.
It's been fun, and it's been a rig-a-ding-dan-dandy, as you'd like to say, in the famous words of Ed Whalen, the pro wrestler. I will say they were talking about him recently on the Ryan Jesperson show, Real Talk. So that was really fun. I was like, I know that guy. I know who you're referring to. Yeah. It's been fun. We are here next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Thank you all for tuning in. Remember to like, share, subscribe. We will have information, articles up on our page. Thank you to all our sponsors. And if you want to get involved, feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to connect with you and see what we can do to partner up.
Awesome.
I guess that's it, Evan. Have a great night.
Well, hey, in the meantime, in between time, buddy.
Keep your sticks on the ice. Stay safe. Have a good night.
Cheers.